Racism has been going on for a while now, since the 19th century to be exact. Racism has many different definitions for different people depending on how you feel towards the situation or towards the topic itself. To me, racism, I feel like it's when one race judges another race based off the color of their skin, culture, or background as such. To me, racism doesn't get much attention, I should say. The situations that happen in the world today does frighten lots of people. It does make people feel like everything that happened back in the day, I should say, was for no reason. Even our president that we had just elected for the new year, next year, 2021, Joe Biden even said a certain, I wouldn't say he was trying to be rude. I don't know what he meant to come off as, but he had called black people roaches. And he basically publicly degraded one group of people based off of an opinion. And as a president, everyone's seeing that, so everyone's thinking it's okay, or that it just doesn't have a big effect or anything. But him being a president, everyone's seeing that, so lots of people are like, okay, should we follow, should we not follow? And lots of people don't know how to feel about certain topics. So when he said that, it kind of made me think, like, we fought for racism, we fought for equal rights, we fought for everything, for people to still, I wouldn't say people, I would just say for situations to still be gone unseen. There are 3 different acts. The acts are, Act 1 is Freedom, Founders, and Finance, based off of a project debate. Act 2 is based off the Capitalism, which is where women, they write powerful essays expressing different actions, different reasons, different topics. Act 3 is about the 2 kings and a prophet, which is Martin Luther King and David making personal statements for changes. When big people, or I should say celebrities, or people who have a public eye, when they speak upon situations that many people don't think about or don't get much awareness, it brings awareness, because anything that a celebrity speaks upon, everyone's like, oh, what are they talking about? What are they talking about? Everyone wants to know the issue, and some people either stand with the issue, or they just don't care, or they fight against it. There's all different people, but when there's people in the public eye that's able to speak and make a change, once everyone sees that, you either make a stance or you don't. And I feel that racism, it shouldn't still be going on, because of the fact that lots of justice and freedom rights were fought for, such as freedom of speech, race, like just freedom. I should just say the word freedom. Education equalities, even women rights and voting rights. All these rights should be taken serious, because there was even slavery back in the day. There was, you can't do this, you can't do that because of your race, or because of your gender. There's all different types of reasons, and everyone has fought. Our ancestors, your ancestors, everyone's ancestors has fought, and I just feel like a change needs to be made. People always ask me, what do you think of racism? And I always say, I just feel like it shouldn't go on at all. It shouldn't be going on still. As a young adult, I know it may sound like I'm just top notch, like I know everything, and I don't. And I'm still learning about history till this day. But what I do know is wrong and right is right. If someone's walking into a store and there's like a group of black people and there's a group of white people, and they're just with their families, that shouldn't make someone feel uncomfortable because that's just who they are. They can't change who they are. I just feel when I get asked that question, I don't necessarily get defensive, but I do feel some type of way because in school, in my schools that I grew up going to, it wasn't a big deal. They taught some history teachers I had taught it because they had no choice, but they didn't go in depth with things. They just covered it roughly on the surface just to have I wouldn't say a job to do, but basically they didn't go deep into it. I don't get offensive when people ask me questions, but that question hits the spot because it's still going on today. I can walk into the cafeteria at my college and I would just get looked at all types of way just because of the color of my skin. Anything can be on my skin and I can just be labeled as with a bias. I can just be labeled, but I just feel like I'm just being discriminated because of the color of my skin by other races when I can't change who I am. They can't change who they are. I don't judge anybody. And I just feel like in today's world, that's our problem. We are so young and our minds are so affected that we really just don't sit and think, well, if I did that to somebody, how did I make them feel? And if that was me, how would they make me feel? Would I like that? Would I react a certain way and then get labeled? Would I just sit back and think? Would I take it up to my parents? And most people these days, they don't have anybody to talk to about it because everyone wants to avoid the situation. No one wants to talk about it. But it's a huge issue today. And I just feel like racism has to come to an end. Such as police brutality. People may think, oh, they're not just targeting black people. But the thing is, you can't say something if that's not your race and you don't know the facts, because some people can get really aggressive and just really, it can just hit them personal to the point where they want to attack. Police brutality is also a huge issue that deals with racism. People can be driving their car, black people, African American people can be driving their cars and then just get labeled or pulled over for the wrong thing, and they can just be shoved out their car. They can just be called this. They can be told this. And I won't say it happens to everyone, but I will say there are many people who lost their lives due to being, I don't want to say color shamed on the spot, but due to getting their color read. And I won't say it's not all lives matter or just Black Lives Matter, but the Black Lives Matter deals with racism because there's a stance that needs to be taken because many black people are dying. No one's saying all lives don't matter. All lives do matter, but we're saying right now Black Lives Matter they're just going through a lot, and they just need everyone to stand with them. And I can personally say that I went to a protest this year and I was amazed. And I say I was amazed because in my history classes, I would always look at these books where I seen people like just coming together. I just seen people just in these pictures. It was always black and white and the coloring of the pages. And I just seen people just making marches, making posters, and they're just walking for a reason. They're just walking for racism. They're walking for rights. They're walking for everything. And when I personally went to the protest, when I say there was all races, I mean I seen Chinese people, Hispanic, Caucasian, African. I seen all types of people. I've even seen Native Americans out there. I see all types of people come together for one cause, because racism has gone outrageous this year. There has been cases that made people march in the first place. I've seen all types of beautiful souls helping one another. And it's not just racism towards black, it's racism towards everyone. People can get Chinese people. You can look at them and you can be like, oh, they're talking about me, when they're just probably having a casual conversation. It can just be everybody that was just out there marching was for a cause. They felt wrong is wrong. Now let me help them, because I seen white people giving black people water. I seen black people giving Hispanic people water, and I seen no color really when I was out there. But just to explain my visual of everything I was around, there was everyone helping everyone. Everyone was marching. Everyone was making sure everyone was hydrated. Everyone was making sure everyone was eating. And it was just so beautiful. Everyone took a kneel together. Everybody was screaming, Black Lives Matter. This has to stop. All lives matter. Everyone was just taking a stance together. And it was really crazy, because at the age of 19, I don't expect to be out there marching. I seen little babies out there. I don't expect that at my age. And maybe I wasn't so much not aware, but I didn't know this issue was so outworlded. And to wrap it up, I do feel like this is a beautiful world. Everyone can get along. And if you can't, I just feel like if you can't get along, you can still live in the world together. Hate would be a strong word to use. When the world I live in today, in Phoenix, Arizona, Glendale, Arizona, and Arizona period, I have seen so many people hang out with different races, support different races. And I feel like this world can do so much good if a situation wasn't just pushed under the rug as much, or saying that it was handled. I do feel like once everyone just puts a hand in racism, because it's not towards just the blacks, it's towards certain people. It's towards, let me rephrase that. It's towards everyone. So I'm sure that everyone feels like they're being judged by the color of their skin. It's not just blacks. Racism needs to stop, period. I'm only speaking on what I know and what interests me.